at home. Hope you're enjoying the summer and the sun, and can't wait to see you guys soon. Bye.
Whatever the distance or darkness, you're with me. You're with me. Whenever I'm failing or falling, you've got me. You've got me. You won't let me down. Never, never. In your love I'm found. Forever. Your love, it goes on and on. Forever is not too long. I believe it. I believe it. I'll never be too far gone. Forever I'm in your arms. I believe it. I believe it. I know that your love's never leaving. You're with me. You're with me. I stand on your promise and purpose. You've got me. You've got me. Your love, it goes on and on. Forever is not too long. I believe it. I believe it. I'll never be too far gone. Forever I'm in your arms. I believe it. I believe it. You won't let me down. Never, never. In your love I'm found. Forever. You won't let me down. Never, never. In your love I'm found. Forever. Your love, it goes on and on. Forever is not too long. I believe it. I believe it. I'll never be too far gone. Forever I'm in your arms. I believe it. I believe it. You won't let me down. Never, never. In your love I'm found. Forever.
The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E. Yes, that's a book for me. I stand alone on the word of God. The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E. I take it home with me. I read and pray and then obey. The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E. Yes, that's a book for me. I stand alone on the word of God. The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E. I take it home with me. I read and pray and then obey. The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E. The B-I-B-L-E.
Hello, friends. Today we're going to hear about God's big love. We're going to hear about how God's love grew in people's hearts until they were so full of His love that they had to do something about it. Today we're going to hear about what happens when God's love helps us to respond. Now, I have a question for all of you. Have you ever felt hungry? Go ahead, raise your hands if you have. You know that feeling when in your tummy it feels empty and it starts making funny sounds? It doesn't feel very good, does it? Well, let's get into this part of the big God story and hear about how God's love inspired one church to help people who were hungry. A long time ago, in the big God story, Jesus lived on the earth and loved everyone He came across. Some people were very hungry, and Jesus gave them food to eat. Some people were sick, and Jesus healed them so they felt better. Some people were lonely, and Jesus became their friend. The way Jesus loved people was so amazing that people would tell their families, their friends, and even strangers about how loving Jesus was. One man named Barnabas sold some property he owned and gave all the money from the sale to help take care of people in need. People were so filled with God's love that they began to live very generously. Even after Jesus went back to heaven, people couldn't stop talking about Jesus. They started doing all the loving things they had seen Jesus do. When they saw people who were hungry, they gave them food just like Jesus had. When they saw people who were sick, they did everything they could to help them feel better. When they saw people who were lonely, they became their friends. At first, the only people who loved Jesus were all in one big city called Jerusalem. But that didn't last for long. Jesus' love was so amazing that eventually word spread about Jesus to the other cities far away. In one city called Antioch, there were lots and lots of people believing in God's love. They started calling themselves Christian. They started meeting together all the time to talk about Jesus' love. That was where the first church started. Now, the church is a group of people who follow Jesus, not just a building. There were so many people becoming Christians in Antioch that the Christians in Jerusalem heard about it. They wanted to know more, so they sent a man named Barnabas to Antioch to help the Christians there and see what was happening. When Barnabas got to Antioch, he was amazed at what he saw. The Christians were sharing with each other, being kind to each other, and loving each other just like Jesus had loved people while He was on earth. Barnabas got another man named Saul, also known as Paul, and the two of them spent a year in Antioch, teaching in the churches by loving others the way Jesus had. One day, some prophets came to church in Antioch and told everyone there about how the city of Jerusalem was about to have a famine. A famine is where there's not enough food to go around, and a lot of people become very hungry. It was going to be a really hard time for everyone in Jerusalem, with lots of empty stomachs. They decided they couldn't just sit there and do nothing while people that loved God were going to be hungry. They came up with a plan to help provide food for the people in Jerusalem. At one of their next church meetings, they took an offering and everyone gave as much money as they could to help the church in Jerusalem. They gave all the money to Saul and Barnabas. So Saul and Barnabas took the money back to Jerusalem and gave it to the Christians there to help provide food during the famine. God's love helped the Christians in Antioch respond to the famine in Jerusalem. Now, this may be the end of this part in the Bible, but it's not the end of the big God story. In fact, this story is still going on today. Just like God helped the church in Antioch respond to hungry people in Jerusalem, God's love helps you and me respond to what's going on in our lives. He has given us so much love, and now we can share that love with others. In fact, I wonder what God's love will help us respond to next. Bye, friends.
That helps us to respond.
Children, Jesus tells us in his word, love one another, just like I love you, you love each other. This is how everyone will know that you are my disciples, when they see the love you have for each other. John 13:34-35. Children, may you know that God is love and show his love to others this week.